we're going to do when we go on holiday.
Juggle castles.
Juggle castles.
Yeah.
Colleen Joy Page survived 2 life-threatening brain tumours as a child and was finally given a clean bill of health at the age of 16.
Are we going to catch those little prawns?
Yes, and put them in the little dams.
Yeah.
Just a few years later, though, another medical tragedy was to strike.
One of the greatest catalysts in my life, if not the greatest catalyst for learning and growing, was the birth of my second daughter. Both daughters have brought me so much, but my second daughter was born with very severe health problems, and literally because of her health problems and having to watch her go through many surgeries and face life and death and face pain almost on a daily basis, it pushed me to use what I had found so far, but in ways that I'd never have imagined. I had to find a way to cope. And so I used the skills that I had come up with as a younger person and the tools, but now literally to cope as a mom.
The Kabbalist would teach that this world is a school for the soul, and therefore even obstacles that occur literally contain aspects of divinity, aspects of lessons and refinement and elevation of our soul.
Aside from coping with Megan's illness, Colleen also encountered severe financial stress. Collapsing under a huge burden of medical expenses and outstanding debt, her husband's business fell to pieces and her family struggled daily to make ends meet.
There was one particular year that was the culmination of everything. There's one particular day that we needed to rush my daughter in for an emergency procedure, and we didn't even have money to put in petrol. So we had to sneak into my eldest daughter's bedroom and literally open her piggy bank and take money to put in petrol. That was probably one of the toughest days of my life, knowing that I couldn't even afford petrol money to get my daughter to hospital.
On one of her darkest and most despairing days, Colleen had a deep soul revelation. It turned out to be so profound that she later wrote a best-selling book about it. She realized that rather than asking herself what she should do to get herself out of her crisis, she needed to ask the question, "Who am I?" instead.
So I argued, and I thought, that's not going to help me to know who I am. And then another thought arrives in my head, and the thought was simple. If you are an apple tree and you don't know that you're an apple tree, how will you know what to do? So I stayed with this idea of the apple tree, and I realized that I didn't know who I was, that somehow I'd lost me. And so here I was getting this inspiration to reclaim me, to find me again, and that somehow that was supposed to be what I needed.
The apple tree became an enlightening emblem for Colleen, reflecting back the voice of her inner self. Just as when she was a little girl, oils, watercolors, and paintbrushes became the healing instruments with which she was able to reclaim herself once again. In life, as in art, the goal is not necessarily to turn the blank canvas of our lives into acclaimed masterpieces, but rather to recognize and accept that everyone has an innate ability to be uniquely creative.
Art or creativity or any kind of creative expression is a wonderful way to listen to what's waiting inside and give it an expression.
Through her intuitively inspired paintings, Colleen was able to tap into the profound wisdom of her soul. Reflecting back on her deepest, most closeted thoughts and feelings, these visual records of self-expression helped her to gradually heal herself of her past traumas.
Once I started really thinking about this apple tree idea, it taught me so much. It became my teacher. And I realized that as a society, we are so doing orientated. I realized that I was so doing orientated. And then there are people that struggle to do because of financial restraints, like I had experienced so intensely, or because of physical problems. These people start to feel incredibly worthless. Our self-esteem is so tied up into this idea of, are we doing enough and are we doing it well enough? Once we latch onto this apple tree idea, as I did, I realized that being has to become the priority. Who we are is first, and what we do should be an expression of who we are.
Another significant lesson that she learned was that we need to follow our own soul paths.
I had forgotten my apple tree self, and many of us have, and as a result we live with an emptiness inside. And I even realized that the apple tree could teach me about that. The sap, which is the lifeblood of the tree, rises when we are living who we are, when we are expressing who we are. And that same sap drops when we are not living who we are, when we speak or say from a place that betrays who we are. We get so distracted by what everybody else's truth is that we forget that the only place to find our truth is inside. That's the only place that ties us to our sap. We truly are our own authority, and we're supposed to be the authors of our own lives.
Colleen's life evidences the fact that art and imagery can play a vital role in refreshing and restoring spirit. Whereas words often fall short, the transformative power of non-verbal expression can help unlock the subconscious mind, provide a channel for emotional cleansing, and present us with opportunities to meaningfully transform. Recent scientific research validates art as an enlivening and emotionally energizing experience. It has long been common knowledge that alpha brainwave patterns are initiated during intense moments of prayer and meditation. Studies now show that these very same patterns present themselves during the process of creating art. In addition to this, pleasure-inducing chemicals such as endorphins and serotonin are released, bringing about a lowering of heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration.
The apple tree taught me that I needed to find who I was. That once I knew that, I could literally take who I was and turn it into doing, turn it into very focused and effortless energy. If you know who you are and you start trusting that above all else, everything follows easily from that. Like, how easy is it for an apple tree to make apples? It's the easiest, most joyful thing in the world for an apple tree to do apples. It's a very natural, flowing, effortless thing that naturally leads to abundance. That's how easy it is for us to follow who we are and to bring that to the world.
One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is, who am I? If you ask that question and answer that question in all you do, you will live a much richer life. Colleen's wonderful example of an apple tree is so powerful because the apple tree knows who it is, but we have an evolved consciousness, so we have to focus on conscious presence so that we can effortlessly realize true wealth.